A ministry that once symbolized the explosive growth of modern megachurch Christianity is now at the center of intense discussion and scrutiny. For decades, one name stood near the top of the evangelical world, T.D. Jakes. From humble beginnings to leading one of the most recognized churches in the United States, his rise represents both the promise and the controversy surrounding the megachurch movement. But recent debates, online criticism, and questions about celebrity culture within church leadership have pushed his ministry back into the spotlight in a very different way. Before we explore how this story unfolded and why it has sparked so much discussion, take a moment to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future reports covering major developments in the world of faith and culture. The story begins with the remarkable rise of a ministry that reshaped the landscape of modern American Christianity. In the mid-1990s, T.D. Jakes founded the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas. What started as a small congregation quickly expanded into a massive religious institution that would eventually attract tens of thousands of worshipers. The church grew rapidly through a powerful combination of dynamic preaching, emotional worship services, and a message centered on hope, healing, and personal transformation. Over time, the Potter's House became one of the most recognizable megachurches in the country. With large weekly gatherings, national conferences, and an expansive media presence, the church came to symbolize a new era in American religious life, one where a single ministry could reach millions through television, books, and global events. As the church expanded, so did the influence of its founder. T.D. Jakes quickly became far more than a local pastor. His sermons were broadcast internationally, reaching audiences far beyond the walls of his Dallas church. He became a frequent guest on television programs, appeared at major religious conferences, and built relationships with political leaders, celebrities, and influential figures. For many supporters, Jakes represented a powerful voice within contemporary Christianity, blending charismatic preaching with motivational teaching that resonated with a wide audience. His ability to communicate complex spiritual ideas in relatable language made him one of the most recognizable pastors in the world. One of the defining moments in the expansion of his influence came through publishing. In the late 1990s, Jakes released the book Woman Thou Art Loosed, which quickly became a major success. The book focused on emotional healing, spiritual restoration, and empowerment, particularly for women who had experienced hardship or trauma. Its message struck a deep chord with readers and soon grew beyond the pages of the book itself. The concept expanded into large conferences attended by thousands, stage productions performed across the country, and eventually film adaptations. What began as a ministry message evolved into a major cultural brand that significantly expanded Jakes' influence within both religious and mainstream entertainment circles. With success, however, came growing attention to the financial realities of megachurch leadership. Over the years, critics began raising questions about the wealth accumulated by prominent pastors. Discussions about large homes, private jets, and lucrative book deals have frequently surrounded leaders in the prosperity-oriented wing of Christianity. Because T.D. Jakes is often associated with teachings that emphasize faith, blessing, and personal breakthrough, he has sometimes been linked to debates about prosperity theology. Critics argue that such teachings can create unrealistic expectations about wealth and success, while supporters counter that messages of hope and empowerment can inspire people to improve their lives. These debates have existed for years, but they resurfaced again as online discussions about Jakes' lifestyle and financial success gained attention. The latest controversy began when photos circulated online that allegedly showed Jakes attending events connected to Sean Combs, widely known as Diddy. The images quickly spread across social media platforms, where users debated the significance of the gatherings and speculated about the nature of the connections. In the modern digital environment, images can travel globally within minutes, and public figures often find themselves facing intense scrutiny as audiences attempt to interpret what those images represent. Some critics argued that religious leaders should maintain clear distance from celebrity culture and entertainment figures associated with controversial lifestyles. Others responded that attending public events or interacting with well-known personalities does not necessarily imply endorsement of their actions or beliefs. As the photos circulated, online discussion grew rapidly. Social media platforms filled with posts, videos, and commentary analyzing the images and questioning how they might reflect on Jake's public role as a pastor. In many ways, the reaction highlighted the intense pressure placed on high-profile religious leaders. Unlike pastors serving smaller congregations, megachurch leaders often operate in the same media ecosystem as celebrities and politicians. Every public appearance can be photographed, shared, and debated by millions of people. This constant visibility can amplify even minor controversies into major public conversations. Another element that fueled speculation was the perception that T.D. Jakes did not immediately offer a detailed public explanation addressing the circulating images. In the absence of clear statements, online audiences often fill the information gap with their own interpretations. Some observers argued that silence can unintentionally intensify controversy because it leaves unanswered questions in the public mind. Others suggested that responding directly to every online rumor or accusation can also prolong the story. Navigating public communication during a viral controversy is a challenge many prominent leaders face, especially in an era where digital discussions evolve rapidly. Alongside the online debate, reports began circulating suggesting that attendance at the Potter's house had declined in the period following the controversy. Such claims are difficult to verify because megachurch attendance can fluctuate for many reasons, including seasonal patterns, economic factors, and broader trends affecting church participation nationwide. Still, the reports became part of the larger narrative surrounding the situation. For critics, they appeared to confirm the idea that public controversies can affect even the largest ministries. For supporters, they represented speculation amplified by social media rather than confirmed reality. The discussion has also drawn attention to past controversies involving individuals connected to the Jakes family. Over the years, various public figures associated with large ministries have faced criticism or scrutiny, and those stories often resurface during moments of renewed attention. When a ministry reaches a certain level of influence, nearly every aspect of its leadership and family network becomes subject to public examination. This reality can create an environment where personal matters, past disagreements, or unrelated controversies are woven together into a broader narrative about the organization itself. Beyond the immediate controversy, the situation has reignited a long-running debate about the structure of megachurch ministries. Many large churches are strongly identified with a single charismatic leader whose preaching and personality draw massive audiences. This model can be incredibly effective for growth and outreach, but it can also create vulnerability. When a ministry's identity becomes closely tied to one individual, any controversy affecting that leader can quickly affect the entire organization. Critics argue that churches should develop broader leadership structures to prevent excessive reliance on a single figure. Supporters respond that visionary leaders have always played a central role in religious movements and that strong leadership can inspire large-scale ministry impact. The broader conversation touches on deeper questions about the relationship between faith, celebrity culture, and institutional accountability. Megachurch pastors often operate at the intersection of religion, media, and entertainment. They write best-selling books, host conferences attended by thousands, appear on television programs, and interact with influential figures in politics and culture. This visibility can amplify their message, allowing them to reach people far beyond their local congregations. At the same time, it places them under a level of scrutiny rarely experienced by traditional pastors serving smaller communities. For many observers, the story surrounding T.D. Jakes represents a broader cautionary discussion about the risks of building large religious movements around powerful personalities. When a ministry grows around a single voice, that voice becomes both its greatest strength and its greatest vulnerability. If public trust in that leader weakens, the ripple effects can be felt throughout the entire organization. This dynamic has appeared repeatedly across the history of modern megachurches, where rapid growth sometimes brings equally dramatic challenges. At the same time, supporters of Jakes emphasize the enormous impact his ministry has had over the past 3 decades. Through preaching, counseling, and community programs, the Potter's House has reached millions of people seeking encouragement and spiritual direction. Conferences such as the Woman Thou Art Loosed gatherings have provided platforms for discussions about healing, empowerment, and faith. Many followers believe that whatever controversies arise, the broader legacy of the ministry should also be considered. Ultimately, the ongoing discussion highlights the complex relationship between influence, accountability, and public perception in the modern church. As religious leaders gain global platforms through media and technology, their ministries operate under constant observation. Supporters, critics, and curious observers all participate in shaping the narrative through online conversations and commentary. Whether the current debate fades quickly or continues to grow will depend on how the story evolves and how the ministry chooses to respond in the months ahead. What remains clear is that the megachurch model continues to provoke both admiration and skepticism. For some, it represents an innovative way to reach large audiences with spiritual messages. For others, it raises concerns about power, wealth, and the risks of concentrating influence around a single leader. The story of T.D. Jakes and the Potter's House sits at the center of that debate, illustrating both the extraordinary reach of modern ministry and the intense scrutiny that comes with it. If you want to stay informed about stories shaping the future of churches, leadership, and global Christianity, consider subscribing for more in-depth reports like this one.